you have to think of something that people need literally, then package that and give them as a solution. Hey folks, welcome back to Alflex Fit podcast. My name is Alex for those who don't know me. So in this video, I want us to talk about money, and before we do that, kindly if you get any value from these videos, consider subscribing, liking and sharing with your friends, because so that we can be able to reach out to more young people who are in need of this information. So in this video, we are going to talk about money and how we can be able to build ourselves up and actually build a successful financial life, simply because at the end of the day tunahitaji pesa bana, tunahitaji pesa, and we shouldn't live broke when other people out there are printing money, and that's why I wanted us to think about money. So I will go ahead and think through the major problem that we are facing as young people, especially at this stage of our lives, that is from 18s all the way to late 20s or such. A way of thinking about money is actually fraud. I came to realize that simply because you find that a lot of young people, including me, actually, I'm talking from my point of view, simply because this is what I found myself doing, simply because for a very long while I've been looking at money in terms of saving. You see, I go to job, then I save up, I do something. I go to job, I save up, I do something. And that way, I came to realize that is a fraud perspective, simply because at the end of the day, I'm only limited to what I can earn. I'm only limited to saving what I can be able to earn. You see, that is a fraud perspective, simply because you are limiting yourself to an amount of money that your boss is giving you, technically speaking. And that is what we have been taught since childhood. You have to get a job, then you, instead of using your money, you should save. Like, what's up? What is the reason of even working in the first place? And I came to realize that is a mistake. That is a mistake that a lot of us do, simply because we are limiting our growth, literally. When there is abundance out there, like people are printing money like crazy. People have big businesses, they are printing money. And I came to realize that spending is not the issue. Spending money is not the issue. The issue is not understanding how to make more, how to be in a position of raising more money for yourself so that you can even spend more. You have to expand your spending limits, simply because that way you are attracting more abundance. And that means when you are spending money, you are literally making more, you know. You are literally forcing yourself to be in a position of making more. You are raising the standards of making more as well, simply because you are spending more. You see, that means you are pushing your growth, as a matter of fact. So tunafaa tuanze kufikiria in a way that, okay, instead of cutting down my cost, what can I do to at least raise more money? You see, what can I do to, instead of just being tied by a job and being told by a boss, fanya hivi fanya vile, naweza fanya aje, like I manage to raise a little bit more money for myself so that I can even spend more, because there's no point of living in this life and then you're constantly cutting off things that you want. Things that you want, you cut off simply because you can't afford them. There's nothing bad than that. You want something, yet you say, oh, I can't get it. I don't want that kind of life. And that is what all of this is setting up us up for. Simply because unaangalia, if you live a life of thinking about money, like earning from a job literally, then saving, that doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore. And ukiendelea na hiyo system, you will come to realize that your boss doesn't want to pay you more. Secondly, your bank where you are saving, or your circle or such kind of a thing, first of all, they are making more money than you are when you are saving with them. Literally, because they are taking your money and loaning it out to people who are building. Literally, that is what it is. Then they are giving you a very small percentage of interest. And that is a losing game, technically speaking. Your boss doesn't want to pay you. Inflation is rising, yet your boss doesn't want to pay you. That means your pay is fixed. Your pay is fixed. Then your savings a tiny percentage of interest, and that is foolish. As a matter of fact, that is a losing game, and we have to understand how to get out of it. And how can we get out of this game? Because at the end of the day, we need to make more money. We need to be in a position of buying what we want. If I want this BMW, okay, give it to me right now, not tomorrow. Like, that is how we should live life, a life of abundance. We should think of how we can live an abundant life so that we can limit ourselves. So how can we do all of this? And I came to realize one thing: to be in a position of solving your financial issue, first you have to understand how to be valuable to people. Without value, at the end of the day, no one will be able to pay you. And if you look at it very well, when you go to a job, your boss is paying you simply because you are an addition to his efforts. You are giving him value to his companies, to his businesses. And that's why he's giving you that money. He's paying you a paycheck at the end of the month. You see? That is value correlated with money. You see? The same thing when you go to Mama Boga or maybe somewhere there in your local area or such kind of a thing, you are paying those people because they are giving you value in exchange. You are paying Mama Boga because he or she is giving you the cabbages. You see, you are paying the transport, the matatu, simply because they are giving you the service of taking you from one place to the next. That is value in exchange for money. And if you can't master that exchange, at the end of the day, you end up suffering because you don't know how to serve people, literally. You don't know how to deliver value. And how can we be in a position of delivering value? First of all, you have to understand how to figure out what are people doing, like what are the issues that people are facing, literally. What are the pain points? What are the problems that people are facing? Then provide a solution. A good example of this is a company like Safaricom. If you look very well, back in, I don't know when it was invented. Back in 2000s, let's say early 2000s or such, these people looked at a problem that Kenya was facing, that is connectivity, network, calling, such kind of a thing. And they were like, okay, what solution can we bring about in this? You see? Then okay, we can build such kind of a system yenye inaweza saidia Wakenya wa connect, wapige masimu manini nini, and doing faster business network nini, and they provided that service. They packaged that problem and provided it as a service. And watu wakaona, okay, these people are solving our issues, and that is why we have to pay them so that our issues are constantly solved. The same thing with M-Pesa. That is what they did. Okay, they saw there's a problem of transacting money. So what can we do about it? Let's bring about mobile money. Boom. And that is how they provided a solution to that. Fast forward today, that is a massive business. That is a massive successful business. And that is how they managed to get out of the hood, simply because they provided a solution. That's the same thing that we can do. If you can sit down, because the hardest work in this world is to think, is to sit down and think. That is the hardest work that you can ever do. If you can manage to sit down and think, look at people's lives, and just see the problems that these people are facing, then think about a solution. What solution can I give? Because if I give them this solution, at the end of the day, these people will be able to pay me because of the solution that I give. And you have to make your solution non-negotiable. For instance, like this, Safaricom right now, it doesn't have to ask you to pay them. No, you just need their service, literally. You see, because it offers you a solution to something. The same thing, you have to think of something that people need, literally, then package that and give them as a solution. You have to start from zero, as a matter of fact. You have to start from zero, but at the end of the day, that idea has to come from your mind. You have to think, because as a matter of fact, God have given us a beautiful head to be in a position of thinking about solution, thinking about things, and imagining things, and seeing how we can package all of this together. You see? So, and as a matter of fact, you don't have to start from the top. You can't climb a tree from the top of it. No, you have to start down where you are at right now. Saa hii venye hauna pesa, hauna nini, this is the time you can be in a position of sitting down and understanding, how can I package a solution? Because at the end of the day, The solution of, in terms of a job, you're providing a solution to your employer. At the end of the day, you are totally replaceable. That's why they can't negotiate with you. Tomorrow anaweza kufuta na waandike mwingine, because all of you know the same thing. But if you can manage to think an irreplaceable thing, at the end of the day unapata you are unique in your own ways. You're unique in your own ways. You're packaging your solution in your own way, and nobody can be able to replicate that unless you use your mind to do that. You see, that is the only way you can be in a position of solving your financial problems over and over again. Like, totally, like, you solve your issues totally by providing a solution to a problem in the society. That is the only way you can be able to be rich. Then, on top of it, instead of saving, think of something like investing. Instead of saving the money that you earn, instead of saving that money, you think of investing that money. Let that money grow, because when you are saving, the banks are making more money than you are by saving with them. You see? But when you are investing, at the end of the day, you find that you might lose, but if you know, you understand what you are doing with your investing strategy and such, at the end of the day, you find that you're multiplying your money times two, like, in a very short time. Considering a bank that you can save for a whole year, then get a, I don't know, 6% interest, at a 6 at an meaning 3%, you get a 3% interest, but by investing, you can get that in a few months. In fact, at a few months, 3% is even a very little amount. You can get even a 40% interest from investing. Things like stocks, real estate, things like rate, if you know that. What else? Bonds, treasury bonds, treasury bills, all these things, these investings can be in a position of helping you multiply your money far much more and far much quicker than saving can. And that is a financial strategy that we were not taught in school. They couldn't teach us that strategy in school simply because they wanted us to be employees in the system. You have to think of yourself, you have to think of how you can untrap yourself from this system. And at the end of the day, you have to understand that you're the only one who can do it. No one can be in a position of helping you. They're here to use you. They're here to use you. Your boss is here to use you to build his company, his dream and such, his mansions. It's a man eat man society. So without you understanding how to do that, to provide value, at the end of the day, it is a lost game for you. You have to think outside the box. Let us use our brains. Let us go out there and conquer and achieve what we want in life. So if you stuck to this very end, thank you so much. And if you got any value from this video, consider subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting, or maybe even sharing with your friends. That way we can be able to grow as young people, one step at a time. I hope to see you at the top. Adios.